So the Vanguard scene is growing, and this is why we need you. With Bushiroad's content creator program now at the horizon, also creators being selected at this stage, there's been a better time to start creating content now. We're going to discuss about the state of Vanguard, some of the common barriers for new content creators, but also future opportunities that could arise after this stepping stone. You want to stay to the very end so we can cover those? And let's just get right into it. Today, I'm your host, Commander Jaime. I have none other than the one and only Winning Image. Sean, you want to say a couple words?
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? As Commander Jaime introduced me, my name is Winning Image. Yeah, Sean, however you guys find me. Longtime friend of Jaime. This is a topic that's very passionate that I'm about because I feel like I don't want to say I know Vanguard tubing inside and out, but having been in this niche for over 10 years, it's something that I've studied, written about. It even had a foot in my personal and professional life. What's the state of Vanguard tubing, man? Let us know.
So with the state of the Vanguard situation too, I want to kind of set the stage too. So we'll talk about some of the perspectives that both Sean and I come from. So for me, in terms of being a player, 10 plus years in the community, for content creation, 5+ years of consistent effort, and then seeing the ups and downs of Vanguard along that journey too.
So I started Vanguard content creation when I was 14. My very first YouTube channel ever was Team Honey Badger Plays Vanguard. Grew that with my friends, but then when I got older, I realized that it was time for me to branch out and have my own YouTube channel, which is when I started Winning Image over COVID. Launched Cardfight Con out of passion and love for the game during COVID. We had the Cardfight Con itself in December 2020, and then the Cardfight Con Overdress Invitational, where we hosted 16 of the top content creators and world champions, and won a tournament. As well as after my break, because I did play college sports. Just so the comment section is like, did you actually die? No, I didn't. I had to end my job. I played college lacrosse at the University of Houston, go Cougs. But it is through that experience I was able to sharpen my skills, sharpen my storytelling ability, as well as kind of my Vanguard skills, where I was able to, I think, have a pretty successful comeback into the Vanguard scene by kind of pivoting my content to what this community needed earlier this year.
No, it's really good. Thanks for the story too, because part of the message that we want to show is like, what's the landscape and the perspectives behind it too. Kind of leading to, you took a break from the game recently and then you came back maybe late last year as a player.
Yeah.
And then you were looking into the YouTuber scene again, because one thing's being a player, but when you're stuck creating content again is a higher commitment, right? And what we did is we have some data behind that we want to share. And just by searching on YouTube, Cardfight Vanguard as the basis of the keywords, we noticed that there's a score behind it too that shows that the volume of searches is pretty good actually. So this may be a byproduct of the BCS season already started too. So that might be on the higher end, which again, Bushiroad wants to push for the English side of creators too. But also in the competition side, it's healthy in the sense that it's not that competitive. And what that means is that there's people searching Cardfight Vanguard, but there's not enough content being served to the massive audience. And really, if we were to start painting that picture, there's a need of having more creators to begin with too. So I want to start there. Can you tell me, Sean, a little bit of what you saw when you started looking back into the YouTuber scene? Because really you're a returning player, right? In that sense too. I think I tell people that too. Yeah, that is value. Because I feel Vanguard should be excelling in both new player growth, but also returning players. There is something special about Vanguard that I've seen players take a break more than once and still come back. From that perspective, can you see what you saw on the YouTube side or even just the state of Vanguard in general?
Right. So when I was coming back to the game, I think I hit you with a message around September last year, because I was working on Leonor and how we could kind of work that into
2024. Yep.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I didn't find much content other than like 5 or 6 videos of Leonor. And then as I was also trying to get back into Vanguard, I was like, I have a little bit more expendable income, so I wanted to play premium a little more seriously. Just because, you know, like when you have a job and you take care of responsibilities, you do have money. That's something I didn't have when I was making content initially when I was a kid. I was really excited to jump back in. And then I noticed there was a really lack of content for very specific niche decks, as well as like the premium side of the game. Now, premium's a little different just because I think that the content can be a little evergreen, especially if you're not playing meta A, meta B, meta C.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but I just saw the need when I was returning. I was like, freaking Batman. I was like, City needs me. Just because you said something that was pretty powerful to me, that like there is value in returning players. Like I said, one of the things we worked on in my master's program was our storytelling aspect. So I wanted to showcase to the Vanguard community that it's okay if you leave, but it's also okay if you come back.
Absolutely.
And I think part of that narrative, story-driven content was something lacking as I was coming back to the game, just because so many people leave and come back, but then they just leave again. So
I see.
You need to really kind of fill in the gaps for people, I think, especially if they become attached to you as a personality. And that's the route that I took for it. And as for what I saw, I was like, I felt like we had a lot of creators going on during 2020 to 2021. But because of course I assumed like I had other responsibilities came up,
right?
There wasn't really kind of that revolving door that we see with other card games, because Vanguard itself already is pretty niche because we don't have nostalgia factor yet. I don't know. I kind of want to hear from you as well if you agree with that.
I could definitely shine light at that, because usually compared to like bigger TCGs, so think about like modern Yu-Gi-Oh or even Pokemon, and all of a sudden One Piece came out of nowhere too, and they just have a bigger audience in general. So like even if creators come and go, there's still plenty to find, right?
Yeah.
But with Vanguard, we're much scaled down in a sense, and we actually don't have any English content creators, like independent ones, that are even at 100K. Whereas modern Yu-Gi-Oh has multiple already at that level and above. There's even some hitting. I think Team Samurai X is about to hit a 1 million soon.
Wow.
And then in Pokemon, there's actually multiple people over 1 million, you know? And so not saying that we're small, but it's a tighter knit community. So I feel like there's an opportunity, which we'll touch on too, that even though you don't have even 1,000 subs, you still have opportunity to have a positive impact in the community in general too. So that's my way of looking at it. It's not necessarily that we're small. In a sense we are, but we're just more of a tight-knit community.
Yeah, and as I was saying, like I have been creating content within the space for 10 years. There's value in that too. I think right off the bat, just when you hit double digits of content creation, anything that shows longevity. And when you think like some of the big names in this space, like Different Fight's been committed to Cardfight Vanguard for longer than I have, longer than you, longer than any of us have. And I think that's really commendable and respectable, and also like makes me really thankful that we have somebody to look to as kind of like the template for how to build a Vanguard channel going forward, as well as where to start.
That he's literally leading the front for independent English creators too.
And I was just going to say, like, and One Piece and Digimon haven't been around that long to really see if they can withstand that test of time like Vanguard has.
I do want to piggyback on what you said too, with returning players and also Different Fight leading the front, obviously too. Here's the next piece of data that I'll show on the screen too, that really showed some interesting findings. So right off the back, we saw that the English Vanguard channel is at 387,000, which is massive, right? But then the next channel in this criteria is really Different Fight, which is 63,000, give or so. There's actually like a 30 to 40K gap to the 20,000 range, which is massive, right? There are 3 channels currently in the 20,000 range. There are 5 channels in the 10,000 range. Also 5 channels from 5,000 to 9,999. But here's the interesting part too, is that from 1,000 to the 4,999, there's 38 plus channels almost, really. That's huge. That's like the middle class in a way. And then anything below the 1,000, over 370 results came through. Now, what's the criteria that these stats are also pointing out is that you have to be active. And we really kept it simple. We didn't want to single people out. This is more of like, if Bushiroad was looking at you for their content creator program, I would assume that you had to at least make content in the past year's time. If you haven't made any content over a year, more than likely, I don't think Bushiroad would pick you. With that, it also gave me a point to look at, is that really only in the spirit of BCS, in the top 8, there's only 8 channels that have over 10,000 subs, which is kind of mind-blowing if you think about it with Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, etc., right? Sean, anything you want to share on those numbers or that insight?
Well, first of all, I think it goes kind of back to what I said, where it's like Vanguard doesn't really have that nostalgia factor going for it yet. I think I've always said like the revolving door of Vanguard isn't there yet. But one day when it reaches there, I think that's when our opportunity is. But since we're talking about right now and what the game is currently going through, I really think that mid-range content creator is where you want to be if you want to see long-term growth.
Totally agree.
Mid-range creators, like obviously, yeah, we have the top dogs, but you know, like I think based on those numbers, Jaime, like that's more than a substantial difference. Like you have top 1 through 10, and then it just falls off to that mid-range. The mid-range creator, someone would argue, is the life and death of this game. Because let's say one of those top 10 stop creating content one day, one of those mid-rangers can move up, right?
Yeah.
And then let's say the mid-range, let's say one of those top 10 equates to like 5 or 6 of the mid-range. That's 6 creators lost.
You feel it.
Yeah,
right?
like when you think of it that way, especially if you look for Vanguard tubing, and I think the landscape has changed actually in that sense. When you look for a Vanguard tuber, you'd much rather have a plethora rather than 1 through 10 always.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will also say, like, I think Vanguard's also at a point where Vanguard tubers need to evolve and constantly evolve, just because we do have better resources, more imaginable to make better Vanguard decks with websites such as Fuzzy and Dexander and hashtag VG Top Decks started by a Vanguard tuber.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Thank you to Fuzzy and the team that made that website. Yeah. It isn't until literally BCS Rosemont the past 3 weeks. They just publish all the lists. And for a while, they've been doing like top 3, top 4. But yeah, phenomenal. Thank you again. I would also add to your point, Sean, too, where I feel like people can resonate with certain personalities too. And it's not just creating content. Part of it happens as a byproduct that you resonate with people and people resonate with you. And it's finding the right audience, because once you go to regionals, you're able to meet new people, but also feel like some kind of camaraderie, excitement for the game. And just like as a returning player, kind of bringing it back to the returning player and even maybe new players, they're going to search content. And if most likely it is going to be deck profiles, just like you said with Fuzzy, a deck log is very useful. But that's only one side of the coin. I always think about the player playing that deck. Why did they play certain card choices? How does it relate to the current meta game? And that's why I feel like going to YouTube at that point, you find those videos where people can share their experiences. Even if it didn't top, that experience at a BCS is still valuable because you get to see what's actually being played at the time and kind of make a better educated guess for yourself to build your deck that you're trying to work on. Yeah, and also like there's value too, because like it's just more than just a list with those videos. There has to be some type of storytelling is a part of it. I mean, if you're covering your BCS run, that's part of storytelling in a point. But like there's got to be a point why people are watching your video instead of just being a deck list by itself, right? I think we're past that point too.
Yeah, and that's why I said like I just think we're in an age where we have every resource at our fingertips with Dexander, hashtag VG Top Decks, where we could find deck lists. So I don't want to say deck profiles are obsolete, but the space is definitely evolving. People are, I think, slowly realizing that, which I think is really cool.
Good. What's another type of content you've noticed that might be something that is more needed or more to evolve? And again, keeping with Bushiroad's program in mind too.
So I think, I don't want to say I'm the only one who latched onto this, but more so like the narrative-based content. Like I made it very clear that when I came back, I'm a returning player. Here's how I'm learning. And I think throughout like the last, I think if you watch Premium Vanguard Project, just to throw it out there, you can actually see my progression as a player. We're getting back into the game with each episode.
Yes.
Because by episode 4, I could tell you what was in my opponent's hand.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I personally thought even editing that and watching it, it's still so impressive to me that like you could start at episode 1 and see a clear difference to me by episode 4. And that was in 2 or 3 months, right? Like real time? Even though it was only 4 vids, like that's still a lot for how much I put in at the time. And right now I'm working on sealed only. I really think people really need to figure out who these Vanguard personalities are, just because like we only know like the world champions and of course like kind of the bigger name content creators. Just because I think for a game to grow, some people know more about some of their creators than they do themselves, I feel like. And obviously not crossing certain boundaries and everything, but I love Simo. I love Nim. I love Ruggles. I always want to know what they're up to. And And I think when you have those personalities, big personalities backing it all over the world, which is one thing that I think Vanguard does a really good job at, that we have EU representation, US representation, Canadian representation. I think that helps us grow on a more global scale, as well as represent different players.
No, thank you for bringing that up, because I want to kind of piggyback on that, where it's not just about subscriber size. The sheet, the data that I showed was just kind of painting the picture, and not to make a statement that you need to have a certain amount of subscribers for a certain influence, right? Vanguard is a much tighter knit community, and a lot is word of mouth too on top of that. So if a player was asking like, hey, who do I watch for content? Maybe it's on X Deck, or maybe who's a YouTuber that you recommend about for like BCS events or something, like people will point out certain creators, and that personality is important. That type of content is important, even if you're just a couple hundred subscribers too. So don't get so fixated at the number of subscribers, but the quality of content is something that anybody can control too. And I feel like that's going to be the driving force, especially for those people that start out and might even surpass multiple creators, and in fact might even surpass 4 digits or even 5 digits potentially one day too as well.
Yeah, and like there's been a lot of new creators, I think, this last month or so. I don't know if Bushiroad's creator part, we'll touch on that later, but I think a lot more kind of digital content and meta-analysis has popped up recently.
Yeah,
which is
especially with BCS season starting more. Yeah,
so no better time to start than now, just because it kind of has, if you have an opinion, you have a video at that point.
Yeah, literally.
When you're talking about BCS stuff and whatnot, like I know me and you have talked about it. I love watching Squaggy Vanguard. He's hilarious. The guy with like the Quagsire icon.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. He had a short that came on my feed, and I was like, I never thought I had a Quagsire tell me about Argo sirens. Sirens. I was like, wait, what?
Picked it up.
But he does a good job.
Yeah, I love that guy. I know he's great. There's been a lot more coming up out of nowhere, which I think is great. I don't want to say nowhere, because nowhere implies something bad's going on, but there is stuff going on in our game. We're in the middle of the World Championship season.
Right. No, I get it. The one thing also is kind of like the longevity of content creation too. I know that BCS season has started, but there is always a gap. And what I mean by that is that once BCS season started, or ends, I should say, there's BSF, like Team Link, right? This year in particular, with Premium getting a ban list, people were excited at first, but then they noticed that BSF started cutting off events for Premium format. And then we are now into the new BCS season, and we also see that there's not many events that have Premium as well. And the other side of standard in this case too is the Buff Sarga metagame over the summer that we've had, where Japan has been very diligent on doing like 2 to 3 banlist hits on the deck itself. And it took so long for our side to get it. And it was the whole summer that it dominated, right? And I think that can also deter the excitement for other people to play different decks on top of that. So you got 2 factors that kind of like hurt Vanguard and content creation. Because personally, I felt like I've seen less content in terms of Vanguard in the summer itself. And there are some creators that have been around that haven't made content this summer, or have just started again because of the new BCS season. So that's something that I wanted to point out too. And I feel like with more creators with the BCS, we need that excitement. We need more people truly authentically wanting to play Cardfight Vanguard. And what I saw, like especially in this summer, if you go to different social medias, it was more complaining than genuine excitement. And again, I'll bring it back to the eyes of a new player or a returning player. If they see that all the time, then what's the point of playing the game? In fact, they'll probably question people, why are you still playing Cardfight Vanguard? Why didn't you just play One Piece or Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and things like that too. So I feel like even more so, we need more creators to be able to be exciting, right? Positive, that type of deal. So I wanted to touch on that. That makes sense?
Yeah, and it literally says in Bushiroad's creator program, you need to be passionate about showcasing your journey.
That's a good point.
That's one of the first lines, and I think everybody who got an email, I'm going to trust Bushiroad's decision making, and they picked the best lineup that they think would be the best for this game to not just showcase itself to its own players, but showcase itself to potentially new ones too.
Totally agree.
And on that note of Bushiroad saying that it wants passionate creators to start that journey, I'm sure like me and you have all gone through the same barriers of how it is starting Vanguard tubing as a whole. like I say lack of stuff and I say barriers, but I hate that it implies something negative.
Right. I see your point.
Like I really want to say that there's opportunity, because where there's lack of something, there's an opportunity for somebody else to come.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I assume that we all have the same barriers. So before I kind of dive into it, I want to hear what kind of barriers you had when you started content creation.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For me, it was being awkward. Procrastination was probably the biggest one for me. The reason I said that is because I remember getting back into TCGs and it was with Yu-Gi-Oh! And I saw value in deck profiles, like just the amount of it. And again, just hearing from people at events and different locals, that's awesome. And I wanted to give back. And I literally thought about that before playing Vanguard. And years went on. And I, for some reason in my head, procrastinated because I felt I wasn't worthy of making a video. Like, who would listen to me? Who cares about my opinion? Like, I don't know, those thoughts would come about. And literally, it wasn't until 2016 that I finally topped, that I told myself, like, dude, you're worthy. Like, just make the freaking deck profile. And I did it at my apartment at the time. And it was awkward at first because I had no skills in video filmmaking or just being public speaking in a way. Because you got to pretend like you're talking to an audience that is there but isn't there when you record. Mm-hmm. And it was just a phone setup too. So I didn't even have to look at the camera just yet. But I also felt like I had to have some type of forced confidence, and I think that just came off feeling wrong inside me. But as I went on in those videos, I saw the progression of me getting comfortable in my own authentic style, and it became a lot more enjoyable of doing that video. So I think those were my biggest hiccups, was procrastination and actually doing it, and of course kind of just dealing with the awkwardness, because how can you be good at something that you've never done before, right? You're starting new, and I think people are not willing to cross that barrier as easily. Anyone say you want to mention?
No, and like to kind of your point, Jaime, like what I'm in my 20s, you're in your 30s, right? Like, yep. When you reach our age, you kind of run out of first time experiences. So Vanguard tubing for me was that first time experience. Like, when I was 14, I never really knew what Vanguard content creation would be. Long story short, I was watching Domino Paris 21. I like binged all his videos, and my friend was like, you could talk like Domino. And my friend that I was with was on my lacrosse team when I was in middle school. He played Vanguard with me for a very long time. Now he plays One Piece, which, respect to him, just in a different way. But I think like my biggest barrier to entry, I think was my age. Because I felt like I had to shake this whole, I'm going to be some cringe kid that talked with a high-pitched voice back then in the day. And I think YouTube has made it a lot harder for kids my age, if I was to start now, to make content, especially get pushed in the way that you would want it to, unless you have like a parent or somebody running it. Just YouTube Kids exists. Right. But yeah, kind of that I don't know. Like, I think that was my biggest one, just because I did want it to be one of the biggest personalities in the game. And not to say that I'm not, or I am there right now, but I do have a stable place in this community, having also helping run Vanguardians. Yeah, I still think the biggest barrier to me was my age, because I think one thing that I always did with myself in terms of videos and video editing is every video, even to this day, I always try one new editing trick. Yeah, that's kind of been like my secret sauce, I would tell people. Yeah. It's like, oh, how are your videos so good? It's every video I try something new. And if you watch most of my videos, I think you could tell that there's something different about the editing in each episode or each video, a video week to week, video to video. Yeah. And I think that just helps me kind of build a library of knowledge as I not just progress in the game, but also as a creator. Yeah. And I think I got rewarded in a weird way, just because when I came back, I had to not just catch up on video editing, but I did do that for my full-time job for a little bit. And I also came back into the game serious, realizing that, one, it's hard to win anything as an adult. Like
life had you completed the tutorial. Now
like winning a Vanguard game at any level is difficult. I don't care if you're playing the best deck or the one. Like, I'm literally sitting down across from you, and we're both trying to impose our will as men or women on each other. Because I've gone through that in college sports as well.
It's the athlete in you. Yep.
Yeah, the athlete in me, and also like, the older you get, to realize that, hey, this is a hobby, but with BCS attached to a lot of things, the stakes could kind of be raised. So yeah, the games are fun and everything, but you need to take some of this stuff pretty seriously. I think it's the ones who take that seriously, it will show on camera. And a lot of those barriers become walls that become broken, and it ultimately becomes part of who you are.
Yeah, I gotcha. You're developing yourself along the process. And I love that you said that you tried one new editing trick on the next video. And for anybody that feels like they're starting from scratch, like just focus on 1% better on your next video. And you'll notice from your first video versus your 10th video, there should be a notable difference. And I would just start with the topic that you're most excited with and get it published. I've also seen creators record or they prep a lot for this one video, and time passes and use excitement to do the video, and ultimately it never gets published. And how do you progress, right? In that sense too. It kind of also goes back to some of the comparison game. I think it's worth mentioning too. We have people that think about their YouTubers that they admire. And sometimes you like their style, their personality, or their type of content, and you feel like I could probably be like them when I create my content. But the reality is that you can't compare your page 1 with their page 500. That is completely unfair to you. So what I would recommend, instead of comparing yourself to other developed creators, I should say, you should just compare yourself to the version of yesterday of yourself versus today's version. And I think that's a lot more healthier competition with your own self, so you can have that pace of development. And again, if you want to go back to even our older videos, you can see how we've progressed every single video, if not every year, how we've developed as well too.
No, and I think a lot of new creators get so attached to their content, 1 or 2 series videos, or a well-timed deck profile, and just ride that. But at some point you have to evolve. I remember how hard it was for me to let go of the how to play X in 2 minutes. That was kind of my bread and butter. Just because now I think as a creator, if you're not on YouTube Shorts, you're behind.
Okay.
You know, just doing my own testing and research on it, where a lot of initial interest is garnered on my channel. I'm sure it's the same for a lot of other creators. And a lot of people still ask me for advice, whether I'm uploading or not. Hey, I want to start a YouTube channel for Vanguard. What's the best way to grow? Or do you think I could get to the top spot one day? And a lot of these channels maybe only have 100 to 200 subscribers, and they upload once every 3 months. And let's say there are 10 videos, they have a one well-timed deck profile that does have 1 or 2K views, and that's where a lot of their subscriber base came from.
I see.
To really like what Jaime said, take a look at yourself yesterday to today, and know that you're doing this not just for anybody else or for anybody else to notice you, but you're doing this out of you love this game and you want to showcase your passion for it. I keep going back to Bushiroad's creator program, but it's such a hot topic.
It's the core theme of it.
Yeah,
it's the core theme.
Passionate creators.
It has to be a labor of love.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're already a player. Why are you creating content on top of that? Because you have to record, you have to edit, you have to create a thumbnail, you have to mess with the SEO stuff, and all these things that probably people don't even wait, what? And it can feel overwhelming, but it has to be a passion or a labor of love, however you want to call it.
It's a game within the game, brother.
Also, advice for people that are starting off, keep it simple. You have a phone that in today's age is fully capable of creating content, and you can be as raw as you need to be. It's fine, especially in the beginning. In fact, I might revisit the raw style myself in different topics too. But my point is that you just have your phone, put it on a shelf, or if you have a tripod, they're very cheap, especially from Amazon, or an arm, and just hit record. And maybe dead space, no sound, and then upload it to YouTube at that point. And then you can create a simple thumbnail too. You can use Canva, it's free, and Canva's drag and drop, so you don't have to worry about Photoshop levels of editing. That's a whole challenge in itself. But Canva's free. It's easy to use, drag and drop. And how do you get confident with the camera too? If you have a camera just like us, it takes practice. Confidence starts with the reps, just like working out with YouTube. It's a skill set. So you just focus on the reps, just focus on the uploads, learn from the analytics, but also learn from the things that you could improve on for yourself too. And over time, you'll start seeing predictable growth. And that could be with long form and also short form. Start with one. If you feel that you can do both, then that's up to you. But I would focus on getting the uploads and getting the cadence and then assessing.
But yeah, Jaime, with that skill set, I'm sure it could lead to better opportunities personally and professionally, like it has for me. Cardfight Vanguard literally has opened up a world of professional and personal opportunities. And quite honestly, the biggest one that I think we need to touch on for everybody is the creator program, because this is bigger than Bandai has done. I don't think Bandai has done this. Bushiroad, you really crushed it, knocked it out of the park, at least starting something like this. And
I agree.
I mean, like, what are your thoughts on it? I think this is probably one of the bigger news to come out for us.
Yeah, I'm excited to share this because it's more of a stepping stone, the way I look at it. So if you read the program, you see that really Bushiroad is asking for more marketing for BCS events. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's a really good opportunity that they're opening it up to content creators or just players wanting to become content creators. They also said that you technically don't need followers to. I don't even know how they assess those people too on top of that. The point is that you can start. And even though right now they've already selected people, that doesn't mean that it's still any time. I truly believe that, again, this is a stepping stone for future opportunities that could be a lot more long-term relationship-wise, especially with creators with Bushiroad. So that's where I see it in that view, that perspective too.
You know, Bushiroad has shown that they're capable of creating long-term relationships. Look at what they've done with Chris in Different Fight. We all got to give it up to this guy. Like, he's done a lot for Vanguard as a whole, and not just Japan, but on the eastern and western side of the world. He literally has his own card within the Vanguard lore.
Yeah, that's pretty swag.
Like, he has, and then Jaime, you've worked with them in the past, right? Like, you've done a card reveal. They've sent you a box. Didn't she do one more like for one of their upcoming apps?
Yeah, I did it for Deer Days as well. But the one thing that I saw too around that time is that they had a handful of creators involved. So you got people like Outer Orange, TIE Fighter, Kai, Solom as well. He's done card reveals. And I guess that leads me into the next part too, is that could be the next future opportunities. Before it was the clan system, and now we're going into standard. I think we could still do it in standard, and it just depends how they want to approach it. Because sometimes it feels like, especially for Vanguard prior to standard, it felt like there was a clan identity type of deal.
Yeah.
So like, there's 24 clans, so there must mean, if there was 24 creators specific to a clan, they would do the card reveal, right? And it makes sense, obviously, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't have done the Aquaforce one, right? But to that point, I feel like there's genuine opportunity with just generic bosses from different nations. I don't think it's tied to that. It doesn't have to be. And the reason I say that is because, for example, there's a new indie TCG, Alestros, that's been out for a couple years. And with their latest set and their way of promoting it is that they got more creators involved that have genuinely been playing the game itself because of, again, the passion behind it. And they've had 12 to 14 creators do card reveals. And that was exciting. And they did a good job. And they also put all their videos in a single playlist too. So if people want to watch those, that's really good promotion just in general. It's a win-win relationship too. And I feel like an audience would be excited to see their favorite content creator doing a card reveal, right? As an example. So I feel like there's genuine opportunity if they want to bring those back and open it to just like more people. It doesn't have to be just 5 people, 10 people. Why can't it be like 20 plus people?
I think it's more talent identification than if anything, just because they never really had like an application for this creator program. Like from what I remember, it was just like them reaching out, right?
Yeah, I never reached out to them.
Yeah.
They all of a sudden I get an email and I started like being excited, like, yeah, type of deal. And I'm sure the other creators that were picked at the time felt the same way.
Yeah.
But truly, like, maybe they can reach out to the players just like they did. And then it's like, if you're a content creator, would you be interested in a card reveal? Or maybe like a box opening, like Konami does sponsored videos with Yu-Gi-Oh! They did some with the recent Structure Deck, the Chronicles deck too, and other sets too for YouTubers to do. I think that is cool. Maybe they send them a box or a structure deck a couple weeks in advance, and then they can do the video, have enough time, and have it published maybe the week leading up to the release. That's what Konami has done in the past, actually.
And people always say like Bushiroad needs to interact with the community more, especially on the English side of things. And I think this is a great way to get started. Like, I'm not saying this to be like a Bushiroad yes man. I'm saying this as this is something serious and we as a community need to latch onto it. This is literally a business decision for Bushiroad.
Yes.
Like, it's not like, oh, you make cool videos, let's have you on. Like, no, if they genuinely did what they were going to do, they genuinely sat down and picked who they wanted to be part of this program. And I think that if you were selected, understand that, yeah, the videos are fun and everything, but I don't want to say it's a job, but part of me feels like you have to deliver a deliverable because they put that trust in you versus everybody else to do so.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Deliver it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be anything like heavily edited. It doesn't have to be a banger, right? That type of deal. It just like there's genuine effort on your part. And just like you said, it's a business decision is because really they're entrusting us as creators with their marketing. You know, they're doing their own end, of course, but like if they're opening the door for independent creators for that marketing side, I think that's a beautiful thing. And it should be a win-win. At the end of the day, if you have content that shows the excitement and the passion for those events, that in turn should help attendance at events. And that in turn should help for more product at local game stores. I remember over the years, like sometimes Vanguard product can be limiting, and sometimes like, especially looking for like Stride deck sets for me at one point, they retailed, I think, at like $50. Like they're supposed to retail at that, but some places, because of the supply being not enough, they started upcharging $70 to $100, and that hurts the community in a way, right?
Yeah.
So if there's more product, then there's more supply, then there's more people being happy, and product is moving, attendance is growing at events. Again, that's the business side that Bushiroad does look at, right? So
yeah,
cool.
No, I hear you. And like maybe like this is not directly going to influence attendance numbers, or the data won't show that easily, because that's a hard thing to track. But keeping it real with all of you, like it goes to show that Bushiroad is listening, Bushiroad is watching, Bushiroad does care, regardless of what many people say or many people think. Maybe there are some things holding them back, but like Jaime says, this is a win-win, and we all got to take care of it. I'm not on here to discourage anybody from opportunities like this, especially if you didn't get it this round. But I'm also going to say, like, hey, sit back, keep trying. You just never know. Yeah, when you're going to break through.
There's a reference, especially when you're looking for a job. No today doesn't mean no forever.
Yeah, like look at me, Jaime. Like it took me 10 years essentially to really find my stride as a Vanguard content creator. Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm going to be the best one day, but I'm really proud of the work that I've done, and it's something that I even feel comfortable talking about in a professional interview or setting. You know,
absolutely.
Just because there are real numbers behind that.
Yeah, and there's value with just your own self as a creator too. Like it's not just about Vanguard too, but there's opportunities that you can have outside of Vanguard too. I know Sean mentioned about like even like his job situation or different school projects, but even with different TCGs or different collaborations, sponsorships, affiliates too, that could be in its own video as well. And I'll probably cover in the future myself, but build your brand. Like truly, this can be something that you can make for yourself, and as a byproduct, Bushiroad will notice you. So that's the way to also look at it.
It's a different age, man. Like creating content isn't just fun anymore. Like now you could actually do it for a job, which I find insanely cool.
Yeah, you can even build it to the point where it's like just paying for your cards or maybe going to events. At the end of the day, you need finances to fuel the mission, right? And for you and for players, like they just want to compete. They want to play more Vanguard. Like what not better way for building content that in turn supports that, and people want more content in return. Like it's a beautiful thing in my eyes, I feel. That's really what we wanted to touch upon today's conversation. Thank you, Sean, for hopping on. Is there any socials that people can find you?
You can find me on Winning Image, youtube.com/Winning Image. I'm back. I'm working hard, and I'm trying to work on sealed only Vanguard right now. We're on episode 5, and the cool component that I try to differentiate from other games is that you vote on what I use to upgrade my deck with next. And so far, you guys have put me through a roller coaster. Jaime was with me when I filmed one of the episodes, and we actually pulled pretty decently, and we pulled some cards that we didn't even know worked in the deck until we did. So you can find me at youtube.com/Winning Image. And a bunch of BCSs, most notably going to Houston next. So awesome. Any parting words too? Just keep trying, keep working. You never know when you're going to break through. You know, people always say they wish they had the same Vanguard. Somebody told me one time, like they wish they had the same Vanguard opportunity that I had. Well, you can too. You just got to imagine it. Your winning image. Yeah, image. No, but all cheesiness aside, you know, I really appreciate all the support even before I was gone to when I came back. Like, it means the world to me. Like, I text Jaime, like, every once in a while. I was like, man, like, it means a lot, man. Like, it always touches my heart. And I appreciate the community, too. Like, everybody's welcoming. Where, like, if you've been away for a couple of years, you're welcome back. We could always use more players. And if you want to see the next couple of videos too, if these topics interested you, you can actually watch the next video here. Till next time, amigos. Bye.